So packaging and storage of coffee is about keeping it cool in a dry place, away from oxygen, light, heat, and moisture. We are talking about keeping coffee fresh. So how are you supposed to, to store coffee? So write down the chief enemies of coffee are, one, oxygen, heat, light, and moisture. So if you are asked, those ones are the chief enemies of coffee: oxygen, light, heat, and moisture. Now, among the four, oxygen is the chief assassin of coffee. Oxygen is the most dangerous one, because when we learned about roasting, how to roast coffee and all that, we said that the more you roast coffee, the more the oils comes to the surface of the coffee beans. We said that medium dark roast has got some oils on the surface. Do you remember? While dark roasted is very oily on the surface. Now that oil that is on the surface of the beans, when it gets into contact with the oxygen around, coffee becomes rancid. Coffee becomes bad, becomes stale. So coffee should never ever be exposed to oxygen at any given time. That's why these packets are made in a way that after opening it, you can always seal it back, not to allow oxygen to get inside the coffee. Number two, they normally have these holes here. This one. Do not buy coffee that doesn't have this hole. This hole is called a one-way valve. Now, it can only allow CO2 to come out. You remember we said when you roast coffee, CO2 is produced. That CO2 should always come out, but this one-way valve cannot allow oxygen to get inside the coffee. So a coffee packet must have this valve here that can only allow CO2 to come out, but doesn't allow oxygen to get into the coffee. Another thing that when it comes to packaging of coffee, for example, every coffee packet, from outside you will see maybe a paper or something, but from inside there must be a foil paper. From inside there must be a foil paper. Every coffee packet must have this. You know why? Coffee should never be stored in paper. Coffee should never be stored in a glass container. Coffee should never be stored in a plastic container or even in a polythene paper. So coffee can only be stored in a foil paper. You get? If you store coffee in a paper, for example, that oil will be gone. The paper will absorb the oil, isn't it? If you store coffee in a polythene paper, it will be moist. It will get moisture. If you store it in a glass container, the light will pass through the glass. And we have said that light is one of the enemy. You get? And then again, we are not supposed to eat coffee like I said. Even if you make a cup of coffee, you are not supposed to reheat it. The moment you reheat it, the flavors will be gone. So write how to keep coffee fresh. You wrote that one down? How to keep it fresh now. If you are serious in business, coffee business, or if you are running a coffee shop, you need to consider these factors to keep your coffee fresh. Number one, try to order your coffee direct from the roaster on a weekly basis. So you order coffee from the roaster, those who are roasting coffees, on a weekly basis. Because you'll get what? Fresh coffee from them, coffee that has not stayed for long. Point number two is about buy small quantities of freshly roasted coffee frequently. So you buy small but frequently. So you buy small quantities of freshly roasted coffee frequently. I will explain why. Another point, use coffee on the first in, first out stock basis. Use coffee on the first in, first out stock basis. First in, first out stock basis. Another point, never mix stale coffee with a fresh one. Never mix. Fresh coffee with the stale ones, eh? Because the stale ones will spoil everything. Okay? Check the sell by date to make sure you are buying freshly roasted coffee. Check the sell by dates to make sure that you are buying freshly roasted coffee. Check the sell by dates to make sure that you are buying freshly roasted coffee. And then do not buy poorly packed coffee. 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 So, ladies and gentlemen, when we were studying roasting, we said that the CO2 is produced. And I remember telling you that you are not supposed to use coffee that is roasted immediately. Do you remember? Because of the CO2. You are supposed to leave it to the gas. Now, if you pack coffee immediately after roasting, put coffee in a 3 kg tin, tightly sealed. Then you put it in the boot of a car. And that car is standing outside there, is packed in the sun. That tin will explode. Because there is a lot of pressure that comes from coffee because of the CO2. So, when coffee is roasted, you're supposed to leave it to the gas. And why do you insist on you buying coffee from the roasters? Maybe listen to this. When coffee is in this stage, when greens, not yet roasted, it can stay even for 4 years. Okay? 4 to 5 years without going bad. Green coffee beans. The moment you roast coffee, it is advisable you use it within 2 weeks. The moment you roast coffee. So if you are to use it, producing espresso from the espresso machine, it should be gas for some weeks to allow the CO2 to escape. Then now use it for 2 weeks. Okay? The moment you grind coffee into fine particles, like this one, use it within 3 hours. We normally have some guests who will come, order for coffee, then after grinding, the guest will tell you that, oh, I forgot my phone in the office. Can I go back and pick my phone? You will be left with already grinded coffee. So if the guest is gone, you are left with already grinded coffee. Now this one, it is supposed to be used within 3 hours. Okay? The moment you make black coffee, for example, black coffee, sell it within 20 minutes. So when it's green, it can stay for 4 hours plus. 4 years plus. When it is roasted, 2 2 weeks. When it is in powder form, 3 hours. And when you brew your coffee, use it within 20 minutes. So you're supposed to use your coffee when coffee is still fresh. Jesus Christ. It is broken or what?